Tonight, Canada's new Governor-General's call for unity as the country sits at a fragile crossroad.
Extreme polarization is dangerous, but so is extreme consensus.
Louise Arbour becomes the King's representative.
She's going to be a very different kind of Governor-General.
Her message for Canadians, including an unusual warning. Reports tonight that the federal government plans a social media ban for kids under 16. World Cup week is finally here.
It's a big moment for our country.
From the players to the pitch, the final preparations for kickoff.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thank you for joining us. Adrienne is on assignment. After a day of ceremony and tradition, Canada officially has its 31st Governor-General. Louise Arbour takes over the role at what could be a pivotal moment for this country. She is now the King's representative, tasked with maintaining Canada's constitutional order at a time when national unity is fraying. In her opening address, she called for Canadians to embrace their differences. She also took on another growing issue, the potential pitfalls of artificial intelligence. Ashley Burke now with her message to Canadians.
One of the most celebrated jurists of her time, taking on her next big role. Louise Arbour, a former war crimes prosecutor, UN High Commissioner, and Supreme Court Justice, is now the 31st Governor-General of Canada. In her first speech to Canadians, Arbour thanked her predecessor for her service and praised Canadian values.
We don't think we are perfect, but we believe we're pretty well on the way there.
But clear challenges lie ahead. Canada's national unity is being tested.
Extreme polarization is dangerous, but so is extreme consensus.
Arbour used this moment to urge Canadians to listen to each other.
We must continue to protect the public space in which our national debates take place, from schools and universities to the media, to political parties, unions, and civil society organizations.
She also called for vigilance around what could be another challenge during her mandate, the threats of artificial intelligence.
The lines between knowledge and belief, between truth and falsehood, between facts and assumptions are increasingly blurred.
Her Excellency will represent the best of Canada to Canadians and to the world.
Some inside celebrated Arbour's speech.
When you think of the challenges in the world today to the rule of law, order, and systems of justice, I can't think of a person who's better prepared than her.
She's going to be a very different kind of Governor-General. I think we already saw that today.
Those who've known Arbour for decades say she brings compassion, humor, and a deep understanding of Canada to the role.
She's a ferocious and passionate advocate for different things, and I think she will find ways to express herself in this office.
Arbour is vowing to showcase a diversity of voices as she represents the country at home and around the world. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
National unity also a main focus for Pierre Poilievre today as he spoke to a crowd in Alberta. With the October referendum looming, he pushed for Ottawa to change some policies and laid out a case for why the province should remain in Canada. Rafi Boudjikanian takes us through it.
Pierre Poilievre on home turf appealing to Albertans in Alberta to remain part of Canada.
We should not just tell Albertans how bad it would be to have separation. Let's instead talk about how great it can be if our country is truly united.
Poilievre argues Alberta's separatist movement is born of anger at federal government policies, not the idea of Canada itself.
You don't need a federal government to put up a stop sign, approve a mine, build a road or a hospital that is only inside one province. You do need it to clear the way for a railway or a pipeline that crosses many provinces.
He urged Albertans to join forces with other Canadians to push Ottawa to change.
Lock arms with Saskatchewan and Newfoundland and Labrador. to double oil production.
Voters in Alberta will face a referendum in October asking if they want to stay in Canada or agree there should eventually be a vote on separation. The Conservative leader's pitch not quite enough for some who attended the event.
I do support Alberta independence and proceeding that way, looking at all the things that we could bring to Alberta in a sovereign Alberta, because I can't see the reasons of why to stay.
We get promises from Carney, we're getting promises from Pierre now, which is great. He's telling us what he wants to try to do. But at some point, promises just become comfort to fools.
This is a debate this country has had before, most notably in Quebec. The Prime Minister who led Canada through the last unity crisis says sounding an alarm now may be premature.
So it's a problem that it is with us since a long time. But it is a marginal problem in my judgment.
Polling shows most Albertans don't support separation, but things can change fast, says this political observer.
I think we need a broad tent of federalists. This should not be conservatives versus progressives. This should be separatists versus Canadians.
The Prime Minister has called the referendum a dangerous bluff, and Premier Danielle Smith says Albertans want to be heard, but is calling for the province to stay in Canada. All parties may collide at the Calgary Stampede this summer, where the traditional photo ops could become charged with a lot more significance.
And Rafi, looking further ahead, there's a potential flashpoint right before the referendum.
All Albertans will be watching closely, Erica, to see whether or not the federal government decides a new oil and gas pipeline is in the national interest, a call it's working to make on October 1st. Weeks later, the province goes to the polls.
All right, thanks for this. Rafi Boudjikanian in Ottawa. We will soon learn more about the government's plan to keep kids under 16 off social media. There's been talk of official action on this for some time, but now the Globe and Mail is reporting a ban will be introduced on Wednesday as part of a new online harms bill. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson has been following this story. Deanna, fill us in on why this is such a big deal.
Erica, I have talked to parents who have been petitioning for this kind of a ban for years now. They say the harm to young people's mental health has been well documented and that the government has to put some guardrails on these platforms in much the same way that we limit young people's consumption of alcohol or tobacco. So then once Australia actually brought in its own ban in December of last year, I think the pressure increased on the Canadian government. And then this spring, Manitoba announced its intent to ban social media for users under 16. And many provinces started saying, hey, we'll follow suit if the federal government does something first. So there was that internal pressure too.
Now, you were in Australia to dig into the challenges of their ban. So what will the government have to overcome?
Erica, I think the major question here is, how do you implement this? While some families and experts we spoke to in Australia told me that the ban was on the whole working, we did learn that for many teens it was all too easy to bypass. And I know some experts here would like to see a federal regulator for social media companies, and that they want these companies to change the design of the platforms to make them less harmful to younger users. And I think whether the onus is on the families or the tech companies to implement this ban is, for me, the main question that the government will have to answer.
All right, thanks for this. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson in Toronto.
Thank you.
U.S. President Donald Trump faced a cold reception at New York's Madison Square Garden while attending Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Trump and some of his guests smiled as they appeared on the Jumbotron and faced a cacophony of boos. His presence at the game caused major disruptions, security locking down multiple city blocks, forcing Knicks fans to navigate checkpoints and leading to the cancellation of a popular watch party outside the stadium. That visit to Madison Square Garden as the Middle East remains incredibly tense. Tonight, Iran and Israel have backed away from the brink after trading waves of missile fire. But as Paul Hunter shows us, peace talks and the ceasefire are in doubt.
Technically speaking, the 2-month-old ceasefire remains in place. But overnight, tit-for-tat missile strikes between Iran and Israel reigniting worries the war could well re-escalate big time. This is the aftermath at a petrochemical complex in western Iran. And this is after a strike at an Israeli military complex in the occupied West Bank. As the day wore on, both sides announced a pause in the strikes, but from Israel, a warning from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. If Iran makes the mistake of attacking us again, he said, we will respond with force. Despite the broader ceasefire with Iran, Israel has continued striking Lebanon, targeting Iran ally Hezbollah. This is Beirut Sunday, even after a warning that Iran would retaliate if Israel attacked. Meanwhile, said Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, any action carried out by Israel against Iran is the direct responsibility of the United States. All of this as oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz off Iran remain effectively paralyzed by the conflict, pushing up global energy prices. So, the pressure on U.S. President Donald Trump to end the war altogether grows. On social media, he called on Israel and Iran to immediately stop shooting, then adding, Israel and Iran are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. Things should move quickly. It's the kind of language Trump has often used lately, though it has yet to play out that way throughout the region.
Donald Trump wants to exit the war. It's not very clear if he wants to make enough concessions that are needed for a deal. Does he want a deal? Yes. Does he want a good deal? Yes. He wants to exit the war. He's done with this war. But at the same time, I just am not sure if the president is prepared to make enough concessions.
But so too Iran and Israel in a war that one way or another drags on still. Erica.
And now, Paul, we're hearing Houthi rebels in Yemen are deepening concerns as well.
Yeah, now there's a group we haven't heard much about lately, aligned with Iran, but who have largely stayed on the sidelines in this conflict, now threatening to block Israeli ships in the Red Sea. Today, the Israeli military says it intercepted a Houthi missile and shot down a Houthi drone, both targeting Israel. Erica.
All right, thanks for this. Paul Hunter in Washington. Ukraine continued to strike oil facilities in Russia and areas under Russian occupation as Russia attacked multiple Ukrainian cities with drones. This security camera video captures the moment officials say a Russian drone struck in the city of Zaporizhia, killing 2 people and injuring at least 18 others, including children. Officials say a 49-year-old woman was also killed in the city of Nikopol. France's military says its fighter jets shot down a drone over Latvia today as part of a NATO mission to patrol the skies of member Baltic nations. Latvia says the drone entered from Russia. Throughout the war, several drones have strayed into other countries' airspace. A desperate search is underway in the Philippines for survivors of a massive earthquake. It struck early Monday local time, killing dozens and injuring more than 100. Sasha Petrusik shows the terrifying moment it happened.
In an elementary schoolyard in Mindanao, at the southern tip of the Philippines, the ground shakes and pupils panic. Then this. No one was injured here, but as the day went on, dozens of others weren't as lucky. My tears started to fall, says Jojo Calma, the driver of a tricycle taxi. I've never experienced an earthquake so strong. The 7.8 magnitude quake hit Monday morning, knocking down buildings like this Jollibee fast food outlet. Many of the dead were trapped or injured under rubble. I'm waiting for his body. I don't expect him to be alive, says Dioslinda Deluvio, waiting for her son. The Philippines sits on the edge of the so-called Ring of Fire, making it prone to powerful earthquakes every year. The epicenter of this one was about 25 kilometers off its southern tip. Tsunami warnings were issued, but nothing major hit shores. The quake did make apartment towers sway, with some showing cracks several stories high. People ran from a pharmacy as shop windows shook violently. And at a high school, students filled the yard trying to keep their balance. Some students spent the night in tents, too afraid to sleep inside. We are really traumatized, says Diana Katimwan. Rescue workers are still searching for survivors. The president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., promised help, saying Mindanao won't be left behind. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Toronto.
China's president is in North Korea tonight, Xi Jinping's first trip outside his country this year. Jennifer Yoon explains what the two neighbors hope to get from the visit as the allies look to reset their relationship.
A colorful display for a rare visit. North Korea rolling out the red carpet for Chinese President Xi Jinping. This visit is a chance to advance China and North Korea's relationship in a new era, she said. It's been 7 years since he was last in Pyongyang. Since then, North Korea's gained leverage with allies outside of China like Vladimir Putin. Kim Jong-un sent weapons and soldiers to Russia to fight and die in that country's war against Ukraine. In exchange, Russia's president helped Kim revive North Korea's economy with the defense deal and supercharged Pyongyang's military with access to advanced weapon systems. All this, why she's now in North Korea, experts say, to remind Kim of China's power.
I think the overall intention of President Xi is really to reassert influence over North Korea.
And she says it wouldn't take much for China and its huge economy to do that.
I think just having a bit of trade cooperation would actually boost North Korea's status, would make Kim happy.
More challenging, reining in North Korea's nuclear ambitions. According to new research, North Korea now has an estimated 60 nuclear warheads and enough enriched uranium to make at least 30 more. China's long been uncomfortable with North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Experts say Beijing fears American allies might also try to get nukes too.
China cannot command North Korea to do things which North Korea considers not in their interest.
But a day before Xi's visit, North Korea reaffirmed it's not giving up its nuclear weapons, meaning China will have to find other ways to reduce risk, even as Kim continues to push for formal recognition as a nuclear power. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
BC public health officials say a hantavirus patient linked to the deadly cruise ship outbreak has recovered. The individual was discharged from hospital late last week. 3 other contacts, all still asymptomatic, will remain in quarantine for up to 42 days. 3 passengers from the cruise ship have died. Final preparations are underway for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, we had a lot of actions around the goal, so we're going to score more goals.
How Canada's players and host cities are getting ready. Next. And with wedding season now in full swing, how much should you spend on a gift?
$100 to $200 range.
I would say $100.
The financial pressures complicating the big day. Plus, dozens of students cook up some fierce competition.
It was really relieving to find out that we won after the long anticipation.
We're back in 2. The Manitoba municipality of Minitonas-Bozeman has declared a state of local emergency after heavy rains prompted flooding, a gas line rupture, and a boil water advisory. Several roads are washed out, and fire crews in neighboring Swan Valley West have been rescuing people from flooded homes. Canada is just 4 days away from hosting the FIFA World Cup. And as Sheehan Desjardins shows us, both the country and its team are rushing final preparations for the biggest event in soccer and for hundreds of thousands of fans.
Are you ready to meet the team? A first look at Canada's Soccer House in Toronto, an official fan destination. With the FIFA World Cup just days away, excitement is building.
Obviously, it's special. A home World Cup will happen once in our lifetime, and we're aware of this. I mean, for me, honestly, I can't wait for the whistle to just start and get going.
Team Canada spent the day ironing out any last-minute kinks before the opening match in Toronto on Friday.
I thought it was an effective training session. Yeah, we had a lot of actions around the goal, so we're going to score more goals.
And the players trying to drown out the noise. Theoretically, anyway.
It's really about keeping that kind of level-headed state, which we've done a really good job at.
That could get harder as the hype grows. The city is preparing for an estimated 300,000 visitors and finishing up last-minute maintenance to ensure the public transit runs smoothly, prompting delays during Monday's commute, though many riders were understanding.
So overall, I mean, they're doing the best that they can.
In Vancouver, Canada's other host city, BC Place is nearly ready. The grass is growing well. The merch store stocked with team swag.
This will be our whole short rib poutine.
And the food, of course, another priority.
We want all the fans and guests, when they come to BC Play, feel connected to our flavors of Canada.
At this school back in Toronto, some students can hardly wait for the tournament to begin. They're cheering on a St. Jerome alumni, Team Canada's Richie Larea.
To see Richie on that stage and someone who was like a part of our school, I think that would be like an amazing thing to watch.
And Larea is feeling the support.
It's a big moment for our country and especially for us as the players and staff and all within the group.
Fans too, supporting their home team on soccer's biggest stage. Chien Deschanel, CBC News, Toronto.
As ICE ramps up arrests, some say Trump has turned that into a profitable industry.
He is a dream president for people in the business of immigration detention.
The allegations of exploitation. Plus, how damaging are AI data centers to the environment?
Is this the best way we could be using our limited water resources right now?
Why some fear their communities could be changed forever. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. This dazzling time-lapse video shot from the SpaceX Dragon shuttle shows the Earth's aurora near the South Pole. The effect occurs when solar energy particles interact with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere. We're more familiar with the northern lights, of course. Today's high prices can mean the pressure is on when you get invited to a wedding. So, how much should you spend on a gift? With wedding season in full swing, Ina Sidhu went looking for answers.
As couples prepare to walk down the aisle this summer, wedding guests are grappling with a deceptively simple question. How much is a reasonable gift?
Usually like the $100 to $200 range has kind of been what I've gravitated towards.
I would say $100.
I'd say $250. $50 to $200, that's maximum for me.
Industry experts say deciding what to give can feel tricky these days, especially as Canadians navigate higher costs in nearly every part of life.
I would think that $100 a person for the average wedding is where you would like to be. And I think it goes up from there.
For many guests, affordability is becoming a bigger part of the calculation.
I am factoring in about how much I can give as a young person living today, which is like way more expensive than it used to be.
A gift isn't always the only expense. Travel, hotels, and new outfits can add to the cost. At the same time, couples are also paying more to host weddings.
A setting like this would be around $60 a person without flowers.
Statistics Canada data shows consumer prices are up nearly 20% in 5 years, and that translates into higher wedding costs. On average, they now run between $30,000 to $42,000. Wedding planners say some of the biggest increases are showing up on the reception bill.
The biggest one is food and beverage. Definitely we're seeing a hike in the cost of signature drinks. Definitely, you know, back in the day they used to be like $10, now they're more like $17.
Newlywed Jennifer Bruce experienced this reality firsthand. Her September wedding in Calgary cost nearly $35,000, with the meal coming in around $130 per guest.
For me, this is my first wedding at 40. You're not really expecting people to give you stuff. It was just about the party, and anything that kind of went towards the honeymoon was just bonus for us.
Like Bruce, experts say no matter how much is in the card, the preferred gift these days is cash. Ina Sidhu, CBC News, Calgary.
In the breakdown tonight, why critics say U.S. immigration detention centers are just new profit centers, and an insatiable demand for water that has some communities worried.
If we have no water, we have no future.
If AI data centers in this country scale up, some lessons from south of the border.
Somebody is coming and wants resources from your community. Try to understand how they're going to use them.
A case study in Oregon. But first,
detainees are paid $1 a day.
Accusations of exploitation and profiteering inside ICE detention facilities.
You're a customer because the U.S. government is paying for you to be there.
Jonathan Montpetit spoke with former detainees about the conditions they experienced and shows why critics say the system is partly about making money.
Protests outside a detention center in New Jersey in support of detainees inside who are on a hunger strike that is now reportedly entering its second week.
Help here! Immigrants are welcome here!
The detainees say the company that runs the facility, the Geo Group, is feeding them worm-infested food and forcing them to work for $1 a day. The Geo Group is part of a growing network of companies getting billions of dollars from the Trump administration to carry out its immigration crackdown.
He is a dream president for people in the business of immigration detention.
Nancy Himstra and Deidre Collin are the authors of the book Immigration Detention, Inc., The Big Business of Locking Up Migrants.
And in fact, I think under Donald Trump, more companies and entities and communities are being pulled into the business of immigration detention.
5 years ago, the private prison industry was at a crossroads.
There's an encouraging headline. Our prisons are getting less crowded.
Major investors were backing away.
BOA, Bank of America, saying it will no longer lend money to companies running private prisons.
And in one of his first acts of office,
I'm also issuing an executive order that will ultimately end the Justice Department's use of private prisons.
So the two major industry players, CoreCivic and the Geo Group, shifted their focus to detaining immigrants instead. And when Donald Trump was reelected on a promise to deport millions of immigrants, shares of both companies jumped by more than 80%.
Those are both publicly held corporations, and therefore their obligation is to return a dividend to their investors.
Cesar Garcia Hernandez is a professor of immigration law at Ohio State University.
And the way that you do that is by keeping expenses down and revenue up. Well, you know, every additional nurse that you hire is an expense. Every additional shift for a doctor is an enormous expense. You know, every additional ration of food is an expense.
Nearly all ICE detainees are held in facilities that are either owned or operated by for-profit companies. And detainees say the conditions are shaped by these companies' fixation with the bottom line. Outside the ICE field office in San Antonio, we met Ilenaida Gonzalez Ramos and her lawyer, Amanda Aguilar.
This is my client, Ilenaida. Ilenaida is a doctor in Cuba.
Ramos was recently released from a detention center near Karnes City, also run by the Geo Group.
It was bad. The food was bad. During the snow, they didn't turn on the heat. We were very cold. It was bad conditions. Sometimes the food was spoiled, and there was very little food.
David Gomez spent 6 months in the CoreCivic Detention Center in Torrance County, New Mexico.
You're a customer. To use the phone, you're a customer. To pay for commissary, you're a customer because the U.S. government is paying for you to be there.
As ICE began arresting immigrants in record numbers last year, it needed more space to hold these new detainees. That created an opportunity for companies like CoreCivic and the Geo Group to reopen prisons and detention centers that had been sitting empty from lack of demand. Many of these former prisons are in states of disrepair.
there was a time where, like, the bathrooms were flooding and there was like feces everywhere. They couldn't get it fixed, and we would have to like sleep outside of the cell. We were told we couldn't take a shit. We had to use like bags, bro, like plastic bags. Like we had to shit in a bag because we couldn't. It was bad, man.
The former detainees we spoke with all said basic hygiene and nutritional standards often went unmet. Yonkel Lima spent 10 months at the Geo Group Detention Center in Pearsall, Texas.
The hygiene, in the sense of the way they made the food. Sometimes the food had water in it because it had already gone bad, you know? It came watery, and the big plate, it's like a serving plate. Many times I saw it, it was dirty. They didn't wash it. They just served the food like that. They didn't wash it properly. I don't know what was going on there.
Because the food and water were so bad, Ramos says she had to buy extra supplies from the commissary.
I spent around $2,000 because the calls are expensive. And the calls to Cuba are also very expensive. I had to call my family, and the food was expensive. It got to a point where I couldn't buy more food. It came to a point that I could only spend on calls.
How common is it for detainees to spend thousands of dollars on commissary items while they're in detention?
They don't get decent food. They don't get medical care. They're often cold. They're not provided with, toiletries or enough toiletries, right? And what we found in our research is that detainees are charged between 4 and 7 times more than the same item would cost outside of immigration detention. So that, tells us clearly that they're being fleeced by the commissary providers.
Were it not for the commissary, I wouldn't have protein, man, because I would order tuna from the commissary. And like, even though I don't like tuna, I would have to eat it because that's the protein. And that was really expensive. You could spend up to $100 a week.
And how much would a can of tuna cost?
$6.
Detainees who don't have access to funds from a commissary account might then, and often do, turn to what are referred to as voluntary work programs in immigration detention. And there they're doing the work of putting the food on the trays in detention facilities, keeping detention facilities clean, doing activities that really help to keep these facilities going. And for doing that work, detainees are paid $1 a day.
Before he was released, Gomez worked in the laundry at Torrance. He says he didn't have a choice if he wanted to afford phone calls or commissary items.
If you were to estimate how much money you spent on commissary,
I would call it like $3,000 on commissary for those 6 months, and I would say about another $2,000 on the phone for those 6 months.
Core Civic blamed the plumbing problems at Torrance County on local water supply issues. The company says it is committed to providing safe, humane, and appropriate care for the people in our facilities. The Geo Group didn't respond to specific questions, but in a statement to CBC News said, "We are proud of the role our company has played for 40 years to support the law enforcement mission of ICE." The CEOs of both companies rarely give interviews, but last year, Core Civic's then CEO, Damon Heiniger, rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
It's an exciting time right now in our profession. We've got to innovate. We've got to do things in our facilities that maybe we haven't thought about doing in the past.
While we were in Texas, we wanted to see what the future of ICE detention could look like. Earlier this year, ICE spent $38 billion buying warehouses across the country, like this one in San Antonio. The plan was to turn them into giant detention centers. Some thought it meant ICE was going to stop relying so heavily on private contractors. But the plan is now on hold, and ICE has a new leader, David Venturuela, a former executive at the Geo Group.
It sends a clear signal that relationship is on solid ground, and that private prison company executives ought to assume that they have a faithful partner in the Department of Homeland Security.
It is a marriage, some say, of policy with profit.
And so this kind of current idea that we see dominating in the United States, that we have to have immigration detention, is this myth that has been built up largely because immigration detention has been turned into a profitable industry.
Last month, both Core Civic and the Geo Group reported stronger than expected first quarter earnings, putting them jointly on pace to see more than $5 billion in revenues this year. Coming up, concerns about AI data centers and their unquenchable need for water. Meet a company that's proposing one with a difference.
We're designing them in a very thoughtful way that is very community friendly.
Despite that pledge, why some remain worried. Next. The demand for water to fuel AI data centers is raising environmental red flags all over the world. But one company in this country is looking to change that.
I do believe that we have a big opportunity to lead by example and really set a gold standard for how this could be done really well.
On the cusp of a possible boom in AI centers, Canadians are being warned, pay close attention now. Advice from people with experience just across the border. Our Radio Canada colleague Anaïs El-Boujdani shows why.
And I don't want an AI center to take any of our water.
Is this the best way we could be using our limited water resources right now?
A lot of AI technology is actually already integrated into our lives.
If we have no water, we have no future.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Oregon. Welcome to the Dalles. So this is one of Google's large data centers in the Dalles. You can see it's an enormous building. Google built its first large data center in 2006.
In 2021, journalist Mike Rogoway and the newspaper The Oregonian were sued by the municipality because they were trying to disclose water consumption numbers by the local Google data center. The municipality said it was trade secret. Since then, it's a battle they've partially won.
Google reversed a long-standing policy in which they had refused to disclose how much water most of their data centers all over the world used. We're able to see the historical information, but we're not able to tell what the impacts will be, what the company and the city expect the impacts will be in the future.
In British Columbia, the development of these facilities is presented as clean, since the data centers will be using a limited amount of hydroelectricity. Data centers get hot. To bring the temperatures down, an evaporative cooling system works in 2 stages. Liquids cool the computers and internal components, but to expel the heat, especially during hot weather, the water is evaporated. One study estimates that 80% of the water used in data centers in the US is drawn from drinking water, which is still less than other industries.
Last year, for example, Google used more than 550 million gallons of water in this small city. That's 40% of all the water in the city total.
According to a 2022 analysis by Bloomberg News, close to 2/3 of data centers built in the United States were built in water-stressed areas that are dry, and that raises concerns for certain residents. Not far outside the Dalles is Yakama Nation. Wilbur Slockish is a hereditary chief there and part of the Klitikat tribe. He's worried about the strain on water in the Columbia River.
Data centers and all of the industrial practices are altering the food supply chain by heating the water up. So that's my fear. And when the salmon are gone and not no more, we'll lose our identity.
We're heading to Boardman in Oregon. It's a municipality that has been struggling with contaminants in its water for almost half a century. The pollution comes from mainly the agricultural sector, but since data centers have been implemented in the region, the problem has gotten worse. It's an issue for Caleb Lay, who works for a grassroots organization called Oregon Rural Action.
Right over here is one of the Amazon hyperscale data centers that's under construction. They take in water, they evaporate a lot of that water off, so as they cycle that water through, the contaminants that are in it to start get more and more concentrated as we go. And meanwhile, we can't find resources to get people clean drinking water in their homes. It's just absurd.
In a statement to CBC, Amazon says that the groundwater quality issues existed long before they opened their data centers. and that the water they use to cool their facilities in Oregon, well, they use it less than 7% of the year. They also say our data centers draw from the same water supply as other local residents. We don't add nitrates to that water, and the water we return represents a very small fraction of the region's overall system. In BC's interior, a handful of new data centers are on the way. Some people who live here are worried about how they will impact the community. Del Bass, a Kamloops city councillor, says the region is already experiencing water scarcity.
The river's not going up as high as it used to years ago because the snowpack's not the same, because we're in climate change. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people don't want to see the river hurt. And that's a combination of not knowing and the fact that this is new.
This is the new data center.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen it yet?
No. No, I didn't know they were building it, but they're building it.
Companies behind the facilities say these data centers will be different. They won't draw from town water and instead will use a closed-circuit cooling system.
We want these facilities to fit in the communities they're in and to not bother our neighbors. And so, we're designing them in a very thoughtful way that is very community friendly. So no sound, no water use, no pollution coming off of them.
And government is on board.
To build the economy of the future at a time when the political realignment is happening as fast as the technological acceleration.
Still, there's pushback from groups who say the facilities are unjustifiable, especially in proposed places like Vancouver. But people close to the projects, like Andrea Lee, a special advisor on artificial intelligence at Thompson Rivers University, say there is a way for more efficient data centers to be scaled up, providing a net benefit for all.
So on the research side, lots of benefits. And I understand that there is also the environmental concerns. As someone who's been working in AI for quite some time and knowing how data centers like the ones in the US are built, I do believe that we have a big opportunity to lead by example and really set a gold standard for how this could be done really well.
At a time when it feels like everything's moving so fast, observers in the US say it's important to keep asking questions.
If somebody is coming and wants resources from your community, try to understand how they're going to use them, how that might change in the future, and how that's going to impact the rest of the community.
Now about Kamloops AI Data Center, the latest in BC. It's expected to be completed late next year. Coming up, Canadian teens dish out competition in a cooking showdown.
You get 5 minutes to plan your dish and 55 minutes to prepare it.
The winning meal and the team behind it, next in our moment. You're looking at a group of Winnipeg high school students just moments after they won a national cooking title. They competed against 4 teams, turning a basket of surprise ingredients into a delicious meal. Tonight, their winning dish makes our moment.
We went to Montreal to compete in a cooking competition for teenagers, and our dish won first place.
The Gordon Bell High School.
You get a basket of mystery ingredients, and then you have to incorporate those into whatever you're making. You get 5 minutes to plan your dish and 55 minutes to prepare it. You don't know what you're making ahead of time.
It usually is kind of tense because we all are trying to win.
We were fish fillets, cherry tomatoes, and asparagus.
How you guys doing over there?
So our dish, we did a simple seasoning on the fish and pan fried it.
2 minutes.
We put a beurre monté, which is a butter sauce, on top.
Nice smile, everybody.
It was really relieving to find out that we won after the long anticipation.
Doesn't that look good? Now, the judges don't just judge on taste and presentation. They also judge on cleanliness and teamwork throughout the whole process. Next week, this team heads to Paris to compete against a team from France. Bonne chance. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.